From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we are and can each in our own way try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration.
Thank you. Now, as mentioned, this is a great partnership with C21 Canada as well with Dell Technologies. We've been working together since last July that we started with round one. Now, C21 is a not-for-profit organization, and already they're pan-Canadian-wise, they launched an entire document that was related to the future of AI in K-12 and the education report. And so we met up last May at the University of Calgary to talk about this thing, AI, and just the impact that it's been having on our K-12 systems across the country. So lots of leaders, district leaders, academics saying, hey, what can we do here to help integrate it effectively and at the same time recognize some of the challenges that we need to also address? And so this has been an exciting project. It's been a fast project because, as you know, things are changing all the time. And so this partnership has taken on this incredible richness where we've been able to get a lot of folks involved, trying new things, experimenting, we're tinkering, and we're trying to find some of those best practices. So with this AI use case vision, what we wanted to do is really see how can AI actually help us to transform some of our educational practices so that it helps student achievement, so it can help our educators and our students with mental health and well-being, and also improve productivity and our efficiencies. So the key points that we were focused upon is we just didn't want to use AI for the sake of using AI, but to really see how can it transform what we're already doing in education. We wanted to focus on specific use cases. We're not trying to boil the ocean. We wanted to be very focused, narrow, and really just try to see what would happen if we added AI to certain elements. At the same time, we want to make sure that we have that commitment to privacy, our student security and staff security, ethics, and bias mitigation. So you might be saying, well, why do we need to do this? Well, if we look at all of the headlines that are happening, we do see that AI is here. We can't be being the ostrich with our head in the sand. It is here. Our students are using it. Our staffs are using it globally. I have never seen a technology take off the way that AI has. It is now part of our ecosystems in almost all industries. And so education is no different. And we have to think about how can we use it effectively to support student learning, to support staff well-being, etc. Now, it's interesting, Andreas Schleicher, who's the Director of Education and Skills for the OECD, he had a great quote that I wanted to bring forward. And really, humans have been able to invent new tools, but we don't always use them wisely and effectively. And if we don't with this, the consequences are quite great. And so that's why I think it's important that we're thinking about this. We have great opportunity here, and at the same time recognizing the challenges that it brings. So we can't be naive. At the same time, you don't want to miss this opportunity for great innovation and looking future forward. So in our first round, we have all these use cases from K-12 districts across the country. You can scan that QR code to take a look at it. Each use case has a dedicated page that has a video, a PDF if you choose to read it, or a podcast. We're using Notebook LM to show how we're walking the talk of using AI in all of this as well. We're all learning and growing together. And so click on some of these. It's great research, great learning. We're adding all the time to this. And the one that we wanted to highlight today comes from the Toronto District School Board. We have Haggard Awara, who's a principal at one of the TDSB elementary schools. Now, Haggard has actually been able to be part of 2 use cases. She was part of a group of female administrators who were just figuring out how to use AI within their office and how it can be used in their schools. As well, a group of them also took it to how might we engage our community by using some of these tools, thereby engaging the parents and the community and other stakeholders to be part of this learning and growing together. And so what I'd like to do now is pass it over to Hagar so that she can tell her story and give her a chance to share all the great things that she's learned, the growing that she's done, and the challenges that she has had to overcome during this learning adventure. So I'm going to stop my sharing now, and I will introduce you officially to Hagar. Welcome, Hagar. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Katina, and thank you for the privilege to be here and share my humble experience. I had great colleagues that joined me in those projects, and I continue to learn, and I can share some of the continuity that followed the project after we go through exactly what happened. So I'm going to start by introducing myself again, but I just want to make sure I share my screen first. And one second, am I sharing is my screen showing?
Yes, it is. Yep, you're great.
And the presentation is on it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So my name is Hagar Awara. I'm the principal at a TDSB school. My school is a K to 6 school, kindergarten to grade 6. The population of the school is around hitting the 400. Special needs classes in the school, a lot of integrated needs in the classroom, as all the classrooms now are mostly in Ontario education. So never like it has never been that much needed or as evident as we need to be as efficient as possible with our time, with our resources, with everything that we do. To make sure we can just get by the day and get our work done. So AI showed up in the perfect timing, and this project actually showed up in the perfect timing to help us be more efficient. So let me see if that works in there. Okay, here we go. So just an introduction. AI is transforming the education sector, and it's doing that by enhancing workflows, how we do our job, daily job, improving student engagement, and streamlining administrative tasks. So again, for those people who are not in the education field, there are staff that works directly with the students. That's the teaching staff, support staff, DECs in kindergarten, all those wonderful people who are working directly with the students. And then there's the administrative staff, which is the principals, vice principals, office staff, secretary. All these people are in the office and they do more of the administrative work. So when we say administrative tasks, that's what we're referring to, the people who are in the admin. This presentation is going to explore real-world applications of AI, and I have to say this is not including everything. This is just a little bit of it. I use it on daily basis. It's always an open screen in my first thing I do in the morning, open both my notebook LM, my Gemini, and my ChatGPT. The three of them are there, and I try to see which one is best fitting for my next task. So, but I will try to share some of my experience, so hopefully others can also grow from it and help me grow as well by any feedback that is available. Lesson planning, and I'll share the context of that, professional development with the staff in my school and other staff, and community engagement, how to empower the families in our schools and how we were able to expand on that because everyone was so passionate about what we did and they all came together to be part of it. So my context, again, I'm a principal at an elementary school. I'm currently taking courses, so I'm taking some university courses to continue my growth. And I am involved in outside school initiatives, many of them. And then I have a personal, of course, and a social life. So I am very busy. So really, AI made it possible for me to do my job in all those realms a little better. Much better actually, more efficiently, and I don't feel I don't know, like I am 100% sure I would have not done a good job without I wouldn't have been engaged in all these things all at once if it wasn't for AI. For example, my courses, I wouldn't have taken courses while I'm at this job for sure if I didn't have AI. So let's start with the professional development. So that started last year. So AI had just been new, at least to me, and it was just we're starting to get all that ChatGPT vibe. And I did attend a session with Katina workshop that was done last year and so on. And we wanted to do some professional development first in our school to introduce the staff to what is AI. And I have a little overview of what that looked like, and it was more of an exploration, a joint exploration journey for me and the staff together. Let's all gather what we know, let's all gather our knowledge, and let's try to think of our students, their needs, and how we can accommodate them, but at the same time be cautious of what AI can do, because it is private information that's being shared for training purposes. We work within the policies and procedures within our board, so we have to be mindful of that. All these things discussed and flushed out, because I'm new at this, but they are also joined together. We can share our expertise. So we kind of looked at it and we said, okay, it's going to make our work less, more time doing work, less time preparing for work. So it will allow us to have more time with our students, less time looking for the work that we're going to be doing with our students. We looked at the variety of needs, the varied needs of our students. So more than ever before, we have students from all different learning needs in one space have to be the learning has to be facilitated by one educator in the space. So how can you attend to those personalized needs without really having to stretch yourself so thin, and also be respectful of their individual needs and experiences, right? So how can we use that doing AI? So I'm not going to go throughout the whole session together, but these were some of the lessons that we were exploring together. Like there was a magic school website that we said, okay, let's go. Has anyone used it? We talked about a lesson plan perhaps for science. So how can we do it? And we created one together, and then we got some teachers to try it and other teachers to chip in and so on and so forth. We were able to also talk about decodable text generation. So for those, again, who are not familiar with that, we have different students in the same space at different reading levels. So being able to generate texts that are targeting the reading needs of students, and the higher the grade goes, the harder it is to emotionally for the child to be learning how to, blend and segment and sound out the letters in front of their peers. But it's just emotionally heavy, right? So we have to respect the needs of our students, but at the same time, they need to learn how to read. So how do we do that with respect to their needs, but at the same time be able to generate those decodable texts that are respecting their age, but attending to their needs? All kinds of things that we discussed together. And then these are the use cases that I shared with the staff. I told them, these are my stories. Please bring your stories so we can all share together. So this is an example of our early use of AI as a school, exploring. That did two things. Number one, allowed me to share. I love sharing. And then at the same time, it allowed us as a community, for people who have been experimenting with it, who were actually shy, not sure if we're allowed to, because the policies were not out yet. This is a new ground. Those who were not willing to take a risk, they were more encouraged. If the principal is trying it, she did a workshop on it, then I think it's okay for me to try, as long as I, listen and kind of like pay attention to the guidelines and so on and so forth. Maybe I can go check with her. Maybe I can collaborate with that peer that shared something during the session. Hey, this was cool. Show me how to do it. So all those great things were babies of that session that we did. Then we followed up by session number 2, and session number 2 was actually led by the teachers. It was just us getting together as a community, them sharing the lessons that they have done. And at that point, I let go. Like I stepped back. I was no longer preparing. That's why you won't see any slides ready here to share, because I was no longer preparing slides. I was no longer the knowledge owner or anything like, not that I was, but I said, just you pushed you. I don't know if you have that memory. When I was young, my dad loved old cars and we used to push the car a little bit to give it the boost. So I am collecting that. So we pushed the car and then the car started moving. So I no longer needed to do that. They were all sharing. They were in each other's classes. They were sharing tools that I have not heard of. Use cases, because I'm not in the class, they were more innovative and they were more creative and more attentive to student needs because they knew more about the needs than I did. So that's where I felt in my school community a lot of growth happened. Then I also yeah, so that covers this piece about the professional development. They were able to do the personalized learning, the administrative efficiency. That part I'll talk about separately because that is very personal to me, and I can talk about the use cases that I used there. But I have to say, teachers did benefit from the AI assisted lesson planning, the workflow optimization, assessments they were sharing. I know that my school also and I know the policies are not out yet. It's in the process of being made at TDSB, and I'm part of the committee that reflects on that. And I I love hearing the process because it's very thorough and it pays a lot of attention to the wording because it's gonna stay for a while. However, we have gone ahead and tried to use it for assessment. So again, those of us who have kids who just came home with term one report cards, you know that there are comments that go with the report cards. And there were a lot of concerns that were raised in the committee when we were talking. Does that mean you don't know my kid? You're getting the AI to create the comments for the kid? And we reached the consensus that AI has always been there. It's in Grammarly, it's in the spell check, it's in suggested. So you own those comments at the end of the day. What you're going to choose from whatever the generative AI is going to suggest to you based on your prompt. So again, you put that prompt, that's your input. Whatever you get, you're going to edit it to make sure it matches the student, but it helps you get there a little bit faster instead of spending those, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, thinking about the words that best describe that child. Someone threw at you a suggestion that gave you a framework that you can now edit and help you articulate those comments. But at the end of the day, it's your name going on that report card. And it's my name signing off after I edit those report cards again. So whether it accurately describes the student, I don't know. That's a question to ask yourself as a professional educator. That's your professional judgment. But I, as a leader in my space, I have no problem with you using assistive tools, things that can help you get there faster. No problem. That means you will have more time to elaborate more on things that I want to see on those report cards. So these are some of the conversation we've had, and we are so happy with the outcomes. So it's still work in progress, but we are happy with the outcomes and the growth that we've seen. Now, the initiative that was sparked by the project that Katina had mentioned at the beginning, it was our community engagement project, and I worked with Annie, Shireen, Urmila, Rebecca, a whole group of us. We worked together, and each one of us took from the project um, the essence of using AI to empower our communities and look at the needs of our particular communities. And first thing that we said right away, each one of us, we're aware of that, the fact that our schools have different needs depending on our communities. So right away, we said we can't have a one size fit all. But again, that's the beauty of AI. You can't have one size fit all. You can actually make it fit whatever needs you have. You just need to use it for your case. And it's a tool. It depends how you use it. So we took that tool. We had a consultant, an expert work with us that helped us with the prompting, and we were all thinking about the different things that we're going to do. So I can talk about my population. So in my population, in my school, there is a very high newcomers population. which are a lot of families are new to Canada. They're still adapting to the system, and a lot of I see a lot of the women particularly coming to the school, dropping off their resume, wanting to help with lunchroom supervision. How do I become a lunchroom supervisor? How do I become an EA and SNA? All those things. So the need was there. We also see that a lot of the students come and they're like, it's the first time in a Canadian school. So we already know that the family is trying to adapt and adjust to being here, new residents in Canada. So we got together again as a school community group, and we talked about how can we help. So especially with my ESL teacher, he is amazing. He works with the family, so he doesn't see himself as an ELL teacher only. He works with the family deeply because kids only do well when you have that relationship built with the school. And we understand that. So we said, okay, let's work together. How about we do something that's unrelated to the student? It is related in our hearts to the students because you empower the families, you empower the students. The families are stable, the kids are stable. The families have an income and a job. The kids are flourishing and growing academically and mentally and everything you want. So we thought, why don't we do a night for resume writing using AI, empowering our families, and we will get them here. I think people are much more likely to head to their school because I see them every day in front of the school, before school, after school, and they know me personally and they know the space and they know the teachers. So they're much more likely to come to the school. We have the technology, we have the computers, we have free internet. We can watch their kids when they're here. Let's do a workshop so that we can help them and show them how they can use AI for resume writing. Now, I shared the idea with our school social worker. He's like, oh my God, I love it. It's amazing. I want to come. It's always my goal that I want to meet the community and I want to be approachable. I don't want them to see me only when there's a problem. I want them to meet me so that when there is a concern, I can reach out and they're going to pick up the phone or they're going to be more receptive. So I'm like, amazing. Then the word spread to our Toronto public health nurse. She's like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to do with the families. I want to get to know the families. I want to meet them. And really, that's a great opportunity. Maybe I can show them how to, when the vaccines are late or how to do whatever. Like, I love AI and I really want to be part of that learning. I'm like, amazing. Then my wonderful ELL teacher, he reached out to Access Toronto, which is an organization that helps people find jobs. And they have consultants that sit with every individual, look at their resume, look at their careers, and kind of help them find the best path to navigate that. So it's like, yeah, you know what? There's no conflict of interest in schools. We're happy to come and present for free. We had to pay nothing, and we're gonna come. Then when I send the invite to the families, I had some parents who emailed me is like, oh, I'm part of a nonprofit organization that helps families find jobs. We would like to come and help. And so honestly, I was just so impressed and happy and hyped and proud of everyone that came forward just because they wanted that opportunity to help out, right? So we put the invite out to the families, and some families showed up, and there were very rich, good questions. We had Access Toronto present, and it was, again, when the presenter came from Access Toronto, I wanted resume writing. Yes, we told him that we're working around AI, but without us really emphasizing that, because our presentation was going to be how to use AI. So we said he's going to do his piece, we're going to do our piece. It's 2-in-1 kind of thing. On his own, and that tells you how evident AI is, he started talking about people who are receiving your resumes. They have AI, they're receiving the resumes. So how do you write your resume that it is even properly read by the AI, so it's recognized, so it is from the few selected ones, so they get to see the wonderful you, because you're wonderful and we want them to know you're wonderful, but sometimes your resume is not readable but by the AI machines that they have there, or whatever bots they have there, is not reading your resume properly. You put a video, you put a picture, you did something on the margins, whatever it is, we have the know-how how to help you create your resume so it's readable. And he went through the actual technicalities, what to put there, what margins, what templates to use. So I learned a lot. Like my kids are applying for internships and whatnot. I was like taking notes, right? Like I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I did not know that. So that was a great, another great revelation in there. And then we had our wonderful ELL teacher. He made the presentation about different prompts that he shared. Sorry, I just keep talking and I don't really follow with the slides. But some of the things that were shared in the event was the prompt helper that was sent to the families right after. Again, that was done by Mr. Meisner, the ELL teacher. He's amazing. He's wonderful. He created all those prompt helpers and he sent it to the parents after the meeting, right? There were handouts, those who couldn't show up. So it says prompts 101, how to get started. And we had a presentation that was sent to them as well. And in the presentation, we had he opened the prompt window and typed in and he uploaded his own resume and he started showing how you're going to edit and so on. And then the interesting part is people started putting their hand up and it's like, okay, well, can you do this? Can you do that? What if I put this? What if I do? And exactly what we wanted, the interaction and engagement from the community, because then the answers became relevant to their context and they were able to take away more from it than just us presenting. I brought some pictures. So this is our friend from Access Toronto. This is Mr. Meisner, the amazing person. I try not to get the picture with the people in it just because for privacy and I don't have their consent, but it was an amazing night and we had donuts. It was great. So that was the community engagement project that we did. We were so happy with it, and hopefully we will be able to do something. We've been really busy with a lot of other initiatives. We had a STEM night where the parents came, and I feel that the parents now, it's part of our school initiative, school improvement plan, is to improve parent engagement. We want them to be more in the school, to be more visible in the building. And again, when we talk about AI isolating people and keeping them away from each other and creating more of a distance between people, I love to argue that it is a tool. You can actually use it to bring people together. So this is one of the ways that AI was a tool that helped us bring the parents closer, build tighter relationships, and bring them in. It's a big question of how do you do it, right? So that was one of the things that we learned. So admin, me. So how I use AI to make my workflow better. We have a term that we use, it's called SIP, School Improvement Process. And that is every year you identify the pressing goals in your space and you highlight an action plan, steps that you're going to follow, and you need to have measurable outcomes. Otherwise, you don't know if what you're doing is working or not working. That is a big deal. That is really everything that you do in the school. So I can say, like, I didn't do that project because I just felt like it. I did that project because part of our school improvement process is to bring parents in the building, because our surveys and our data told us that that's what they wanted, that's what's needed. We need to make sure that they come to the building. Also, the science, the data tells us that students do better when their parents are visibly in the building. So again, this is everything we do in the school rotates around this SIP. So admins spend and invest a heavy amount of time in creating those SIP plans, making sure that they are authentic and that it is a continuous follow-up of what it is that we're doing. And it's a cyclical process. So you reflect, you see what's working, you go back and you re-edit and so on and so forth. So as I say this really mind-boggling process, on top of everything else that we do on daily basis, like deal with parents, deal with traffic, oh my God, and the snow, that was unbelievable. I am sitting in the, again, I get sidetracked, but I am standing every day in the middle of the street, moving cars. So I'm doing traffic patrol, I'm doing parking, I am doing parents, I'm doing kids, I am doing phones, you're doing stuff, all those amazing things that I love to do, but it is just not enough time in the day. So AI helped me so much. Again, respecting the privacy of the students, I was able, for example, to upload some of the data, not all the data, and some of the data I had to change, take off student numbers and names or whatever, put achievement data in there, put the survey results, make it anonymous. It was all fed to Notebook LM. I created my own notebook for, it's called school improvement process. And then you can chat with that information. You can create a little podcast, which is great to share with the staff. It's just cool, right? But then I was able to say, hey, from this data, what do you think are the best school improvement process goals that are relevant to this information? And why? And can you please give me some realistic, actionable steps with timelines? And then again, just like talking about professional judgment with teachers, I don't take that stuff and kind of copy and paste over. I need to look at it, review the data, kind of see what makes sense, look at the things that are happening, look at my school population. But it has cut my time in creating that school improvement process by more than half because it has given me good suggestions. Did I take all the suggestions? No. Did I take it as is? No. Did I rely on it 100%? No. Has it, but starting from scratch would have been so much harder. So again, it's a tool. It's how you use it, how you make it human. You're dealing with humans, you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with families, you're dealing with staff. You make it your own, but it does help you a lot and gives you a lot of good suggestions and things that you may not like. For me, for example, one of the great things that I would not have actually, me by myself without that suggestion, I may not have thought about it, is okay, let's have two different goals for primaries and juniors. It looks like your primaries need reading, but your juniors need numeracy. I am programmed in the past. Same goal. The whole school works on it. We're all working on reading, guys. What are you doing, right? The data is saying reading. But looking deeply on that data and analyzing it really, really deeply, that it said, you know what? Literacy is not needed in the junior grades. The kids are doing great. You need to work more on numeracy. So these are just things I can go on talking about this forever because it was super cool. And when we talk about the cyclical process, I just want to highlight before I go that we as admins were so busy, we created and we don't, I don't know, I can talk about myself. We don't visit it as often as we would like to just because things are so busy. However, now that I have that notebook LM, I had created that notebook, that note. I go back to it. All I have to do is just update it. I have to add this little thing. I did this initiative. Now, can you update it? We did this. I'm chatting with it. Like I have my own personal secretary who is working on my SIP only, who's an expert on my SIP only, that I go to at the end of every month, 2 month, whatever, how often you want to visit it. I give her update or him update or them update on whatever it is that we have done so far. And please tell me how to move forward. Are we on the right track? Is there anything that we need to do? La 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 la. And then at the end of the school year, we're going to be doing some really heavy reflecting so that we can plan for next year. So this is really strong. Like if this is the only thing that it helped me, I would take it and go, but it's not. So a lot of the things that I do, newsletters, emails, communication with parents, reference letters. A lot of volunteers that come in the building, they need reference letters. It takes time. Generate a reference letter for a volunteer that has been coming to school, very helpful, very nice, very kind with the kids. Boom. Do I take it as is? No. I edit, I make it personal, but it has given me that backbone that I can just take my flyers. I just created one for my the kids decide to do a Ramadan iftar in our school. I go, they want to do da 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 da. Can you create an RSVP? Can you give me The code script that I'm going to, I don't code, I don't know coding. I say, can you give me the code script that I can paste on the script creator or on Google Forms to create an RSVP form for that? Gives me the code, I copy the code, I paste it, the Google form is there. All I have to do is share the link. So that's powerful. In our world, that's powerful. You may think creating an RSVP form takes, 10 minutes. Creating the flyer is going to take another 15 minutes. The email itself is going to take whatever. All these things add up during the day. Then I have more time going outside, interacting with the kids, visiting classes, co-teaching, connecting with the humans in my space, all those wonderful things that we all want to do. Enhanced data analysis. So I just gave an example of that. It gave me a different perspective when I was looking at the data, and it made me dive deeper because it is a machine that can do better math than me, just simply, right? Lesson planning and co-teaching. So one of the things that a lot of the admins love to do, because we are teachers at heart, we love to go in the classes, we love to engage in teaching with the teachers and so on and so forth. But a lot of times our job is very heavy that we don't have the time to do this. So one of the great things that, number one, preparing for those lessons, going and reading and what are we going to be co-teaching, we just don't have the time to prep for that. Teachers already consume a lot of time doing this. As an admin, you have all of that on your plate. Plus, you don't actually have the time to physically go in there. So AI help me customize lesson plans. So if I know I'm going in a class, I just write a prompt. I need a short story that I can read to a grade 2 class about the land acknowledgement I want to enforce to them. La la, be mindful that I am on the land, that la la la. And I just give it a little bit of, I tweak my prompt until I get something that I like. Can you generate a picture that go with it? And I take it, I print it with my color printer, and I walk in the class. In 10 minutes, I have a read aloud ready, prepared for me. I engage with the kids, and I actually make of it an AI lesson. So part of it, for example, one time it printed a picture which was all kids of just one race, right? They're all like kids with blonde hair, green eyes. The teacher, same thing. And when I went in the class, I saw it right away when it printed. I was like, okay, maybe that's a teachable moment. Let's see if the kids catch on. So I go in the class, we read the story, I look at the picture, and I tell the kids, okay, tell me, what do you notice in that picture? And moment of whatever. And they say a few things. One kid is like, Miss Awara, all the kids look the same. I'm like, okay, look around the room. Is that reflective of our classroom? They're like, no. I'm like, how can we fix that? And then the kids have those rich discussions. I'm like, oh, who do you think wrote that story? Of course, they think you wrote it. Oh, Miss Richardson wrote it. No, Miss Weeks, our office administrator, wrote it. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, no, no. And then I said something that got them to think. I said, I'm going to give you a hint. This was written by everyone. And they're like, what? What does that mean? I said, it's written by something called AI, and AI learns from everyone. So that is input from everyone around the world, and it just creates something based on that. And that triggered another conversation. So why is it creating all the kids looking the same of one race in that picture? I'm like, that's interesting. Let's talk about that. And in the higher grades, it's a much richer conversation. So you can see how even the glitches that AI does can create rich conversations. It's just that you need to think about how you're using it, right? So anyway, again, supported real-time co-teaching strategies through AI-driven feedback, improved student engagement with adaptive learning technologies, and getting the kids to use it. Now, my school is K-6. I can think of much more complex contexts when the kids are older because they are using AI independently to do their work and how they learn to do that. I can talk about that, my context with my own two kids, how we're teaching them to not generate work, but how to edit your work, how to get feedback and real deep descriptive feedback. and a deep analysis of the work that you do. So you like having your private tutor. I just don't have to pay them $65 an hour, right? So it is really helpful that way, but I'm also not taking away from my child their creativity, their imagination, their ability to write, their tools, all these things that we want all our kids to learn as they're growing up. But at the same time, before they hand in their work, I want them to have that critical analysis that I may not have the time or the expertise to give them. I don't want to pay someone to do it, and that it's right there at their fingertips, and knowing how to use it is definitely going to give them an edge. So again, that I can talk about how it makes my life easier. There's one thing that the consultant, the coordinator that we worked with in the was it the community project, the admin project. So we had a project as all of us as admins, we shared, and that was amazing because we started sharing in our context how we used AI to make our work more efficient. And this group was phenomenal because we started our use cases are very similar. We do similar things. They're not identical, but similar things. So when Annie shares something that she's done, or Irmela, or Shireen, or Rebecca, any of them share something that they have done, like, oh, this is cool. I want to try it in my context. Oh, what is that tool? How did you use it? Can you show me? And that goes on until today, right? Like we are each other's support group. We can't do this job without each other. So this was sparked by that group. However, the consultant in that group said something that keeps resonating with me. The AI first mindset, which means that any task that I am trying to engage in right now, my first thought is, how can AI help me make this easier? And the answer may be, no, not yet. They're not there yet. It's gonna take, like, I know my busing, for example, I tried at the beginning of the year, taking off the student names and student numbers and making it, anonymous was a much bigger deal than me doing it myself. However, going there first has made a huge difference because a lot of tasks I was able to automate and get AI to help me with it. So that keeps resonating with me. AI first mindset. How can AI help me in this task? Can it help me? And now I added a different layer because there's an abundance of tools. Which tool will do it best? So I have to say that each one of them has a strength, and not all of them are good at everything. So until now, I don't know if anyone has any other experience, but ChatGPT picture generation is not my favorite. So, I want to use something else for that. But again, knowing where to go, and again, taking risks, experimenting, that's the only way to go forward. Yeah, so I consult with it on regular basis. So I have a GPT or a project, we call it a project, or you can do it on any platform. It's called Principal Assist. So on that GPT, I uploaded all the policies and procedures of TDSB. I uploaded my school data that does not have any private information for kids. And I gave the description, my context. I said, you are a principal in a public school that is K to 6. You're going to be the consultant with la la la. You try, to create the best prompt you can, give it as much information as you can. And now people come and ask me questions when I'm overwhelmed with all those things. Hey, I have this kid who, the bus. Okay, that has just happened today. So we're planning a trip, and someone comes in my office. It's like, they want to put 3 kids in a seat. And I know grades 4 to 6, you can't put more than 2 kids in a seat. The policy says, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure the policy says 71 kids per bus. However, when someone says that to you, I don't have all the policies memorized in my head, but my GPT does. So I go on my GPT and I say, please pull up the policy about student transportation and let me know if we can put more than 2 kids in a seat in the junior grades from 4 to 6. 5 seconds, not even 5 seconds, 2 seconds. The policy number comes out, the outline of what the procedure is, what to do, And it says, if you need any further, if you want me to draft an email to send to the teacher that asks you that question, please let me know, right? So I just say yes. So I draft the email and I have the policy. And you know what's also cool? You have the link to the policy. If you don't believe the AI, go in, check the references, read it with your own eyes. It's right there. How long would it have taken me to pull up those policies and check it out? I was doing an interview with a colleague of mine, and it was extremely cold on that day. So the temperature was minus 23. And, the parents are, of course, fearful. And they like, what is the guidelines? Are you going to give them indoor recess today? La, 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 la. And he's like, I don't remember exactly the guidelines with it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure from minus 20 to minus 30, it's you modify. I don't even recall the numbers now, but I think it's minus 20 to minus whatever the numbers. I don't want to say something wrong, but whatever it is, then you decrease the time to 10 to 15 minutes and make sure they go inside. So he's like, do you remember the numbers? I'm like, I will in 5 seconds. I will remember the numbers in 5 seconds. So I go on the GPT and I put the prompt, can you pull up the weather guidelines around the weather, temperature, la 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 la, and give me the policy number? Writes it for me. I copy it, I paste it, I send it to him, and I actually, since his parents are asking, probably my families will be concerned too. So I create a newsletter, a message, I sent it to the families and say, hey, for those of us who are curious, please bring your kids dressed appropriate for the weather. It is really cold outside because as per TDSB guidelines, they will be going outside for a shortened time today, and I copy and paste the policy number there. So I'm more efficient. I'm more professional too, right? Maybe I'm gonna call them off the top. I'm gonna make more mistakes if I don't have that guidance. And he was like, okay, please show me how did you do this? Can I create something? I'm like, of course you can. All you have to do is upload policies and procedures which are public, and then create a prompt, and then you edit and tweak it as you go. So this has been a life-changing thing for me. I have it open all the time. And when I ask it to write emails or when I ask it to write newsletters or whatnot, it already knows my context. So I don't have to reiterate, be professional in your tone or be an educator, there are certain things that we as educators, different tones that we have to use and whatnot. I don't need to repeat that anymore. It's already custom made in there. So that has changed my life this year. So I'm gonna wrap it up because I can talk forever about AI, and I can talk about all the amazing things it has done to my personal life and my course and my school and everything, but I think you get the point. So it's just in conclusion, it has increased the literacy among the educators in my space, in our community members. Hopefully they will come for more, or they're more comfortable using it in their own context, and they have to try it to make it authentic for their own context. And my future focus, I'll be expanding for sure on all those realms for deeper engagement and accessibility, and to reduce the gap between those who can and those who can't. Just like what we mentioned earlier, one of the biggest goals was there are families who don't have a computer, don't have access to high-speed internet in their homes, they may not have a computer, all that stuff. Their local school has all these things. I have computers, I have the space, I have the people that can help you, and I have the internet. So come up and use it, and we're happy to help you. So hopefully we can do more things like that in the future, and we can help each other do that as well. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you so much, Katina, for giving me the space to share my experience. I'm sorry if I talked at you for a long time, but it was
That was
really,
fantastic.
thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing storytelling, just totally authentic ways that you're using these tools, but also in a way that's showing how these are the tasks that you have to do, and you're using these tools to help you with your tasks, and then do it in an efficient way, but also you're fact checking, you're making sure that it's going out as you're passing that on to your staff, making sure that they're checking and they have to be signing. So it's being critical thinkers at the same time. And you've mentioned so many great ways that a staff could be using it. So kudos to you, Hagar, as an incredible school leader and really tinkering, experimenting, and just showing leadership, showing how it can be done with an emerging technology. So congratulations. I do see there's a question in the group. So question, Annie, would you like to ask your question of Hagar?
It's actually me, it's Shireen.
Oh, hi,
So,
Shireen.
hi.
Welcome.
Hi, I have to agree with you, Katina, and I just wanted to say, Hagar, you are an exemplary administrator, and you have really showcased that you are a risk taker in your own professional learning, and especially in this case, AI. You model this important journey of learning and you pass the torch on to your staff. Kudos to you. You have also helped these parents who, many of our parents are stay-at-home moms, and they now feel empowered. They want to make a difference in our society, and you're providing them with those fantastic tools. I'm going to steal that idea with Access Toronto. But anyways, with your presentation, I love your enthusiasm, and I had a eureka moment listening to you. My brother has a new puppy, and I'm going to ask him to name it AI. Thank you.
I love it. And you know what? Thank you so much, Shireen. You guys make me blush. Honestly, I'm still learning, but I have to say, Shireen and Annie here in that group, and Urmila and Rebecca, they were the most phenomenal group I have ever worked with. The work they have done in their schools is amazing. Nothing less than that, even more. And it was just a privilege being part of this group. We're just I think we're a group of a really some strong leaders, and we learn from each other, and the passion and dedication they have for their spaces, it's exemplar. And I am very privileged to have been part of that group.
Well, I'm just blown away. This is a great kickoff to this particular project and the stories. And this is what I mean, like the richness of these stories, the learning that happens. Like this is exactly what people need to hear more about because, when you have this opportunity to share your stories, people learn from you and they all grow, right? So this is why we need this storytelling to say, yeah, are people using it? How are they using it? I'm kind of, I'm risk adverse. I've got to be careful. So you're just showing how you're driving it out there and you're leading the charge. You've got a group with you, which is wonderful. You are already well versed in your role. So now you're really seeing how it can help you in that role, which I think is just fantastic. I'm just so impressed with everything that you're doing. So congratulations. I am going to move us along in the presentation just because I see that we're coming up on time. And this was the first one of our series. This is use case one of our professional learning series from our different stories, but there's more. There's more. So tonight was the very first one. Hagar leading the way, saying, yep, I'll go first. So thank you for doing that. Next week, we'll have the West Vancouver experience, and this is their story around how they brought in Magic School AI and how their process bringing these tools in and how they empowered their educators with that. We also have Jill Kowalchuk. She'll be doing 2 sessions in a row. She comes from the organization AMI, which is the Alberta Machine Learning Institute, and she'll be talking about teacher agency and Gen AI on March the 6th. And learning kits for teachers, so specific for educators, how they can be using it in their classrooms on March 19th. Then at the end of March, Ottawa Catholic School Board will be sharing their AI journey, and they too have been at the forefront leading the way across the country, trying new things. And then going out east to New Brunswick, how the Anglophone East School District, they actually looked at their school improvement goals to see how AI might help them. So these are the things that are to come. And I'm excited to hear more of these stories. But for now, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you, Hagar, for being our first storyteller from this AI use case project. Again, all of these stories are found on the C21 and Dell site. I look forward to part 2. Like, I can't wait to hear more of all of this. And so thank you again. Thank you again for those who came to show support for Hagar. It's great to have the team here. And we'll be putting this up as a recording so more people can access it. So good night, everyone, and thank you again. And with any other questions, just reach out to us and we'll go from there.
Have a good
And
evening.
good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.